One of the most interesting stories in the book of Kings, which really illustrates a great point about human nature, is the story of Elijah the prophet. So Elijah, who is one of the great prophets of the First Temple period, is wandering between the southern kingdom of Judah and the northern kingdom of Israel. And the northern kingdom of Israel has strayed. They've gotten into Canaanite worship of Baal Peor. And Elijah, in a last-ditch attempt to save the northern kingdom from destruction, he gathers all the Jewish people together on what is today Mount Carmel, where Haifa is, the area of Haifa. And he says, I'm going to do a test, a live test, so you can all see clearly, those of you who are worshiping Baal Peor, the Canaanite god, who's really in charge. The Jewish people at this time in the northern kingdom are worshiping Baal Peor, this Canaanite god, and also worshiping God of Israel. And Elijah's telling them, you have to make a choice. You got to worship one or the other, but I'll make it easy for you. So he gathers all the Jewish people together on the eastern side of Mount Carmel, and he challenges 450 priests of the Baal and the Asherah, of the Canaanite gods, to a duel, so to speak. He tells them, make an offering for your god, Baal, and put the wood there and the stones, and put your animal on it. Now you have to keep in mind, the background to this story was that there was a huge drought. And the drought, Elijah says, is a direct byproduct of the Jewish people's misbehaving. And if you get your act together, he says, the drought will end also. And I'm going to demonstrate open miracles, he tells the Jewish people. So the 450 priests of the Baal and the Asherah make their altar, and they pray to Baal, and nothing happens. And it's going later and later in the day, and Elijah starts taunting them. Maybe he's asleep, scream louder, and they're yelling to Baal, and they're cutting their heads. The gods like blood. Nothing happens. Then Elijah says to the Jewish people gathered at Mount Carmel, make me an altar. So they make an altar. Get 12 stones for the 12 tribes of Israel. Put the wood on it. Put the animal on it. Now submerge it with water. They submerge it with water. And he says, do it again. And do it a third time. And Elijah prays to God. Open miracle happens. Flames come down from heaven. They consume the animal, the water, the wood, the rocks, the dirt. It all goes up into heaven. All the Jewish people see open miracles. They hit the ground. They're screaming, Hashem is God. Hashem is God. They take the 450 priests of Baal, they take them down to the Kishon River. Below Mount Carmel, they slaughter them all. A little teeny cloud appears on the horizon, the size of a man's hand. It turns into a huge black thunderhead. Tons of rain comes pouring down. Open miracles. Jezebel, who's the witch wife, priestess of Ahab, the evil king of the north, is furious at Elijah for doing this. She was a priestess of Baal. She has Elijah pursued. He has to flee all the way back to Mount Sinai. Incredible story of open miracles. But the wildest part of the whole story is the Jewish people see happening before their eyes. Clear as day. God is in charge. Idolatry is an illusion, but soon after, they're back worshiping idols again. And it really illustrates an amazing point about the nature of reality, that a human being can be sane one day and insane the next. Like Mark Twain once said about smoking, it's easy to quit. I've done it 30 times. But we say in the Aleinu prayer, every day when Jews pray, we end the prayers with the Aleinu prayer, which says you have to know this day and put it in your heart that God is king. Okay? In the heavens above and the earth below, there's nothing besides him. And that's the great challenge of being human, is to take what we know intellectually and put it in our heart and make it real to us so that we feel it internally. And it's only through that way that we can truly change and truly actualize what we know to be true and put it into our practical living.